Well, that sets the same for what we'll be discussing when we come back from another break, which is coming up very soon. But we have with us in the studio Honorable Peter Akpatasin, who is Deputy Minority Leader of the All Progressives Congress in the House.
Majority.
Beg your pardon, Deputy Majority Leader. My apologies there. Yes, APC is in lead in the House of Representatives. So, yes, welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
And we also have with us Mr. Iyoha Iyoke, who's a legal practitioner. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, that will be the problems which we'll be wading into when we come back from this break, because the House of Representatives caucus, the Edo caucus in the House of Representatives, held a meeting yesterday passing a vote of confidence on the national chairman of the APC. And we'll also be talking about the next meeting, which is to come up today, because we already see that protests are already going on, and what these people in our studios today make of what will happen at the APC neck, and also what is happening with the crisis rocking the APC in Edo State. Please stay with us. And so we sink our teeth into the matter of the crisis rocking the Edo State All Progressives Congress. And I already introduced my guest earlier on. So let me ask you, Honorable Peter Patterson, what was your resolution about yesterday?
The resolution of APC caucus in the House of Representatives is about...
Was it the APC caucus or the Edo State?
Sorry, Edo APC caucus.
Thank you.
It's about our views and opinion about what is going on in Edo State. Our great state that seems to have been turned to a theater of war and crisis, a state that was previously known for its sterling democratic credentials, but has suddenly turned to, a state of crisis where members of the same party are seen on a daily basis attacking and fighting themselves and misinforming the public about the reality on ground. And we thought that as representatives of the people, we need to make our opinion known and take a stand on the issues as they are. And so we thought that the national chairman of the party is from Edo State, and he has done so well for Edo people, and is still performing very well at national level. It shouldn't be, the responsibility of Edo people to try to smear him and, try to drag him down, from what he is doing for the nation, and all over the country he's appreciated. Shouldn't the crisis should not start from home? Particularly as we believe that the man does not deserve the kind of, a smear campaign, that is going on against him. And so we had to come out to pass a vote of confidence on the national chairman of the party, who is doing so well at national level, having done wonderfully well at state level, and we believe that what it deserves is peace at home, support from the home front to enable him do better at national level.
So this was about the national chairman. Because
hold on, please.
Sorry to interrupt you, Honorable. Yes. I know that after you finished your briefing yesterday, you took questions from journalists. And you said that this was not about the national chairman. This is not about the governor of Edo State, even though very clearly your statement seems to find fault with him and the deputy governor of Edo State. You said that this is about the people of Edo State. This is about the masses of Edo State, that you are not taking sides with any of the sides. However, it will seem that you have taken sides.
You should have allowed me to learn, because there are more than one issues.
By all means, go ahead. I just need to put this in there.
Well, what press have focused on is the issue of vote of confidence. That is why I started from there. Don't forget that. I'm sure you have a copy of it, because we gave it to every press house in that place yesterday. We are worried about the crisis in Edo State. The crisis started or got to this peak with the inauguration of a minority number of the members elect in the House. And the manner in which it was conducted, that is what has thrown Edo State into the kind of crisis that we have. Rather than address the issue, what people are trying to do is to pass vote of confidence on this, vote of no confidence and all that, just to try to please some interest. But we believe that
the train which you have now joined.
we have to address those issues critically. We brought the case to the floor of the House. We moved a motion and stated the same position, that it is wrong to inaugurate a few people and think that that is sufficient to say you have a State House of Assembly in place. And we admonished that the situation should be corrected. Till date, it has not been corrected. Rather, what we are saying is vote of confidence or vote of no confidence. And we have to say that, okay, for as far as we are concerned, this is not what we should continue to do. Go and remedy the situation and let Edo stakeholders come together and say how we can find local solutions to this problem. Not taking our a crisis in the state level to national level. You come to Abuja to protest and begin to, do smear campaign on, I have not said also that. We didn't say, however, that people should come to Abuja and begin to cast aspersions on Obaseki. We didn't say that, and we will not tolerate that. We should get that clear. And so, while you are trying to solve issues,
are you saying
if there's a particular aspect that has been, escalated out of context, I thought that we should take a stand on that.
Are you saying now that
we passed a vote of confidence on the national chairman? But the issues that we brought to the fore, which are clearly stated in our document, have to do with the wrong and unacceptable inauguration of Edo State House of Assembly, and the idea of keeping majority of the elected members out of the state.
Honorable, if you would let me,
chasing them out of the state headquarters.
The House as a whole has waded in on this crisis. The Senate as well. In fact, the National Assembly has waded in on the crisis without much result. We understand that there has been a court order barring any further action, and that's from the Edo State government. But let me ask you, Honorable Yoha, beg your pardon, Mr. Yoke, what's your reading of what is transpiring in Edo State? Do you see any grounds for legality or illegality, or do you think that this is all political?
Well, I think there are a lot of issues involved. I mean, politics is involved, power is involved, the question of leadership and development are all elements that are brought to fore in this particular issue. One, if you look at it from a particular perspective, you could see it as a problem. Yes, there's a problem. That's how people perceive it. What's the good part of the problem? What's the ugly part of it? And what's the bad part of it? Sometimes the bad part of it that is bringing some of these raising some of these controversial issues. But the good part of it is the fact that the party itself is undergoing a transition. Some of these problems are imminent. Certain forces within and without working to assert themselves. But the question is this: what is the objective? What would this particular problem serve us? Talk about politics. The sole purpose of politics is development. And you can't get development except you pass through the process of acquiring power, source the right leadership to drive that development process. Fortunately, I'm not a politician, but I believe that in the wider context of being a stakeholder, I'm from Edo State. And from the perspective of a spectator, I have a better view, not sentimental, not partisan, to be able to give, I believe, what I consider veritable position
go ahead and
on
give
this matter. So I think that the process is this. What should really concern us is that why is it so difficult? Why is such a problem arising within the same party, amongst a class of people from which you had expected there was absolute goodwill amongst themselves? That's what should concern us. And if we probe issues further, you realize that there's a disconnect somewhere. And that is what we need to look at. I disagree with my friend and Honorable Akbar Patterson, who said that the problem started with the inauguration
No,
of...
he said it was...
escalated.
Yeah,
Well,
heightened.
Many didn't know there was a problem until then, but there were other serious issues before then. The question is that how had the leadership of the local House of Assembly emerged before then? These are questions which they could ask themselves. But I see it this way.
You're talking about the primaries?
Not necessarily the primaries. The local leadership of the House. How do they select their leadership? That's a question which those of them who are internal stakeholders would say. But those of us who are external stakeholders, who are indigenous of Edo State, find out that, look, the leadership you provided for us was doing some awesome work in the context of our understanding of what politics is supposed to be. If he's providing leadership, why is he having such a problem at this point in time? It creates a particular issue.
By the leadership, you mean the governor of the state?
The governor of the state.
Yeah.
Yes, local leadership whose leadership affects other stakeholders who are not necessarily partisan,
yeah.
who are not necessarily political actors. But that's the angle we look at it from, and that's the angle that affects a majority of the people. That's why we're all concerned. That's why I joined Tanzania into the fray. Why not give the necessary support to a man who is performing? And I said something. The problem APC is passing through is a transition problem. It's not a local problem. It's not localized. It's a national problem.
What do you mean by transition problem?
It's a problem on a transition of a party either existing to get power or existing to acquire power to drive development. Power, politics and power sometimes for impression, but leadership and development for impact. And impact, leadership and development mixed it on the people is what concerns the people, not the impression you create by politics and by politics of power. Now the question is that the party is undergoing through a process which the previous party took power from did not survive. PDP was a party that was run on the issue of power for purposes of power, not necessarily concerning about the impact it was making. Yes, they had very good policies. Efforts were not on that, but just on the impression of power. And that is where APC is going to at the moment. And the question
and you think that it might not survive it?
If it continues its trajectory. But what they need to do, unfortunately, there are certain signs, and that is what I believe that is creating this level of resistance within.
But let me quickly bring your attention to this. I want you to speak to the legality of this, though. I mean, one of the things that the lawmakers raise, members of the House of Representatives, one of the issues that they raise is that inauguration, which they say was not properly done. For the first time, according to them, members, well-wishers, family members, and so on and so forth, were not a part of the inauguration, which was rather strange. It was done almost, I think, about 9 p.m. in the evening. They claim that other members were not invited to that inauguration. Do you think, because the governor says, my own side of the story is that I'm supposed to just issue a proclamation, and whenever it is they want to do it, it's their problem. I cannot issue another proclamation again. What exactly is your take on this as a legal practitioner?
I think the question is, we might have to be very careful, understand the matter is in court. There's an injunction. Of course, we ask ourselves, that issue, was there a proclamation? Was there a proclamation? I think all parties are consensus on the fact that there was a proclamation. The question is this. On account of that proclamation, what happened thereafter was a problem of management. It has to do with the House itself. And I don't think it has to do with the governor. The governor has performed his executive function to make a proclamation. Now, if there's a thing that has to be done, if there are issues arise from that proclamation, based on action taken thereafter, they have to go to the legislature, which is the House. I don't think that is an issue that should actually affect the governor, except there are underlying factors that are not playing out yet, which are not yet revealed. But however, the question we should ask ourselves, and what should be concerned about, that is where we got worried, that certain narratives...
Let me interrupt you again. You're talking about if there was a proclamation.
Yes.
The second question some people say is, did the proclamation state a time? Because if you remember the crisis that also happened with the APC in the early days, shortly after the inauguration of the Senate, the leadership of the Senate, you remember how Senator Saraki emerged as Senate president. One of the things which the senators stood on was that the president had issued a proclamation with a time frame. I think the inauguration was supposed to be done at 10 a.m. That there was no grounds for other members of the All Progressives Congress to be elsewhere when there was a time on the proclamation. So there are questions as to, yes, indeed, there was a proclamation. What time was written on the proclamation? Was it done on the time which the proclamation was issued?
I wouldn't know if it was a time-bound proclamation, but what the law stipulates is a proclamation. I do not think in this particular day he can give us explanation on that, whether that particular proclamation gave a time frame. But the only thing we do know is that the issue of matter of inauguration follows proclamation. Was there a proclamation? Yes, there was a proclamation. There are controversies concerning other matters, which is already in court. So we should be very careful on the issue of not to act as sub judice, not to offend the rule of sub judice. Now, the question that should really bother us, who are stakeholders, and that's where I'm really concerned. There are certain trends which are not novel. They have been part of us. This issue, this matter of local politicians and the Abuja politicians, those who feel, look, we have access to the national, we can make things happen, we can determine the fate of those who are local. And we should be very careful. And those are the kind of things that happen that could create insecurity situation locally. And for the fact that some of this trend has succeeded in the past. For example, we had a situation in a particular state where the issue was not that the governor did not perform. The question was that stakeholders were not happy with him. He didn't carry them along, notwithstanding the impact he was making on the people. So it has given them a kind of motivation. And that is what has accentuated, what I consider has accentuated what is probably happening in Edo State. It doesn't matter how much performance you have given. If you don't please us, if you don't do what we like, and that narrative is poor. And it is not a narrative that promotes the APC. APC as a political brand that should be accepted by the people.
Let me ask Honorable to quickly respond to that narrative, if that is what is going on, because we did have before now somebody else on the set, as a former speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, who outrightly said, indeed, that the governor was an outsider, that he was brought in by Comrade, and that they accepted him because Comrade brought him. And at the end of the day, they are now having to, say, he started treating politicians as outsiders, and now they're saying, well, we want our seat back. Is that what exactly is going on in Edo State? Is it a question of outsiders versus those who believe that the APC is their own?
Well, I think some people might equally call me an outsider because you know that I came in just in 2011. I don't believe that anybody is an outsider in politics. One way or the other, we have contributed to growth in the state. We have contributed to political developments without necessarily being fully in politics. So for me, that is not the issue. The Comrade did not make a mistake by bringing, Governor Basaki, whom he believed, had what it takes, to continue, from where he stopped. And he has said that severally. But the truth of the matter is that politics is a very dangerous game. My understanding of what is happening in my state is that there are people who are working with Governor Basaki today who believed at the beginning that they were not meeting their targets. The kind of benefits that they anticipated, they were not getting those things because of Governor Basaki's own style of leadership. And the fact that the only way to do that is to create crisis. And when there's crisis, such people benefit immensely. And it is happening presently in Edo State. And what they do in most cases is to come to you and say, Akpatasin is planning to impeach you.
So the crisis
And then
was
immediately you feel, okay, Akpatasin must go.
You feel
I
that
must fight
this
Akpatasin
crisis is contrived.
It is.
Okay.
And the gladiators are still around the governor.
Let me ask you this, because if you say that is the case, some people will say the gladiators could be around the governor, they could also be around the national chairman. But let me put you up on this one. We understand that I think about 6 of you signed this particular statement, but some members are saying, no, we're not a part of this. Did you get the consent of all members to issue this particular statement?
Absolutely. We did.
Well, we understand that a certain, well, we'll come to that.
No, call the name so I can respond specifically on each of them.
Okay, we're expecting one more person to have joined us. We're still hoping that he'll join us in the middle of the conversation. He said he was not a part of the issuance of the statement, but we'll take that up when we come back from this break. Please stay with us. Our closing moments with our guests right now. Honorable Peter Patterson, can you tell us how many people were there when you issued the statement?
I can't count the number. There were very many. Are you talking about the reps?
Yes, I'm talking about, yes.
3 of us were there.
Just 3 of you?
3 of us, not just. We have a total of 6.
Yes. So just 3 of you is half the faction, some people will say.
We were 3 that were physically there.
Yes.
And we had the consent of the other people.
Yes.
Yeah, before we went ahead. But in any case.
Yes. Have you heard people deny now that they were not a part of this?
We are very used to that. We know what is responsible for some of those somersaults. It's a common factor just now. It's happening everywhere. People will sign a document today. After receiving threats and inducement, they turn around to withdraw them. It's been happening all over, from local government to senatorial level up to state level. That's what is happening. So I won't be surprised if anybody is doing that today. It's a common thing. I will know the attraction for them.
So tell us, how do you think this crisis, what do you think will happen today at the NEC meeting going to be held by the APC?
We expect to see how APC, have fared so far during the general election and also in recent elections. We also expect to get more details about what Mr. President's specific, line of actions will be in respect of the, next level agenda that we have all subscribed to, You don't
think this will come up?
I'm getting to that.
We don't have time.
Yeah, okay, to be specific, it is very difficult for anybody to assume that there will be any national gathering of APC today where Edo issue will not be discussed. Even at the caucus meeting of last night, it came up. So I expect it to come up, and what I expect at that level is for APC to provide leadership.
By leadership, what do you mean?
To take charge of the issues at hand and create an enabling environment for the issues to be sorted out. Because Edo State is key and strategic to APC's success in present day situation as well as future elections and all of that. So I expect that the leadership of the party at that level will do that.
So do you think that the APC NEC will be neutral enough to be able to look at the matters dispassionately and solve it? Or do you think that it lies in their hands, or does it lie in the courts?
And I think it's in their best interest to be neutral, to consider the matter dispassionately. Look at it in the context of course, they're looking towards 2023. And for them, this particular issue is a defining moment for them to determine and define what sort of politics they want Nigeria to see they are playing. They're playing the politics for purpose of providing, like he did say, Obaseki was brought from outside. Anybody could have been brought from outside. I could have been brought from outside. And it gives credence to the vision and of the good vision of the person that brought him in. That's the whole essence of politics, to be able to source for the right people to drive the leadership. And that's the point at which we are right now. This NEC should be able to take a decision whether APC stands for a party that creates a platform for persons that have capacity to drive development, to provide leadership to drive development, or just a political party that knows how to grab power. I think that's where we are.
It's a fine place to leave it. We'll see how that eventually pans out. Today, gentlemen, we have to thank you for showing up on Sunrise Daily. I have to say showing up because we expected one more person to show up and we didn't see him. We've been speaking with Honorable Peter Akpatasin, Deputy Minority Leader, Majority Leader, beg your pardon, you can't correct me twice on that, of the All Progressives Congress, and also Mr. Iyoha Iyoke, who's a legal practitioner. Well, that's it for Sunrise Daily this beautiful Friday morning. Thank you for being a part of it. Sorry, we can't take your comments and tweets today. But thank you anyway for staying with us. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
I am Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful day and a beautiful weekend.
And I'm Kayode Okikelu. Thank you for joining us.